Today's topic: pulmonary emphysema. Welcome to International Academy Germanische Heilkunde by Dr.Hamer, MD. My name is John Hollidauer. At GHK Academy, I represent the original seminar program, according to Dr. Hamer, in the English language. In conventional medicine, when an organ cannot be cured or is classified as incurable, one does not think about how to cure this organ, but one simply exchanges this organ for an organ donor. A famous example in Austria is a former Formula 1 car racer and 4 times Formula 1 world champion Niki Lauda, who had a donor lung transplantation a few years ago. I chose this example because in Germanische Heilkunde we have 3 levels to work with: the psyche, the brain, and the organ. And in this case we have the organ level with pulmonary emphysema. We have the level of the psyche, which is not always available to us, but in this case the psyche is also available to us, because he was a really famous person. Therefore, we are also able to derive the psyche of this famous ex-racer. In Germanische Heilkunde, we know how emphysema develops. It is the pulmonary alveoli. The conflict content is the fear of death. Highly acute, isolative, and caught unexpectedly on the wrong foot. And in the active phase, these alveoli lung cells from the yellow group are making cell proliferation, which is also the biological sense, so that every gram of air can be absorbed better. That is the biological sense of lung round cancer. If this is found in the active phase, it will be diagnosed as a lung tumor in conventional medicine. And in the healing phase, the lung tumor, which is now no longer needed, is tuberculously degraded. So, if I can resolve the conflict of the fear of death, the healing phase will inevitably begin. And depending on how great the conflict load already is, the more intense and the more extended the healing phase will be. If the conventional physician catches the patient here, he receives the diagnosis of pulmonary tuberculosis. At the end of the healing phase, this tumor is tuberculously degraded, and what remains is an empty cavern strengthened by scar tissue. Typically, the cavern is also strengthened with calcium, which is visible on lung X-rays and remains so. Calcification is typical after any tuberculous healing phase and remains for the rest of your life. Decades later, you still can see these empty caverns, sharply demarcated and reinforced with calcium. And now, when I have this fear of death conflict recurrently active via a drug, cellular buildup takes place each time. But as soon as I get off the drug again, this cell growth is again tuberculously cleared, and in the end it is cured again. But in these special programs, we have to give feathers with every recurrence. In the case of glandular tissue, at the end of the healing phase, there is slightly fewer cells than before. So if this is a one-time run-up such a special program, then I don't have 100% of my lung capacity, but only 99% or 95%. In any case, I have enough to live a good life without restrictions. I don't even notice these few cells. But when I get into hanging healing with this, then I run through this program hundreds or even thousands of times. What happens is that the initial tissue becomes less and less. The pulmonary alveoli melts away, the scar tissue becomes more and more, and the caverns can overexpand, and this is then diagnosed as emphysema. So, fear of death conflict activate over again via drug, and it usually takes several years before it gets to this point, and during this time there are frequent recurrences. So the patient with emphysema must have experienced a fear of death conflict, and he must have come into hanging healing with this via tracks. So, in Austria, everyone knows the story of this famous ex-racer who had a terrible accident with a racing car. And in the moment of shock, our brain clicks like a photo camera to warn us of this danger in the future. As soon as we get into a similar situation again, these are the tracks and these are the allergies. If the patients continue to drive a car, an accident can happen at any time. So it stands to reason that his track was continuing the car race, or even driving a car was a track. Only now, of course, it is much too far advanced to do anything. We in Germanische Heilkunde would have recognized this 10 or 20 years ago and advised him never to get into a car again. Then at least it won't get any worse. It will stay as it is. But if you don't avoid the track, you will have further recurrences. So if the patient knows the cause and thinks about what the track could be, then he could also behave sensibly and avoid the track. Even if it means never driving a car again, which of course means a massive change in his lifestyle. And no one will change his life accordingly if he have not understand Germanische Heilkunde himself. Suppose he cannot recognize the relation between the cause and the effect. The conventional physician will not explain this to him. For this, everyone must take the initiative and have already learned and understand Germanische Heilkunde. No one explained this to Niki Lauda. He was then provided with a new lung, but even this spare part could only prolong his life by a few months. The topic of organ donation, transplantation is one I don't want to dive in at all, because first of all, organ donation kills the organ donor, because you can't use organs from dead people, and it's not a donation if the donor doesn't survive the donation. And secondly, conventional doctors have an approach similar to that of a car mechanic. If a part doesn't work, we replace it. This replacement mentality of conventional medicine is the bankruptcy of any healing art. If you, dear student, have understand these teachings, then you know why you have one symptom either or another. If you know why, then you also know what to do to get well again. I thank you for your attention. Continue to study Germanische Heilkunde in your own interest and have fun. Goodbye. See you in the next video.
Germanische Heilkunde is considered by those who have understood its underlying principles to be the most significant discovery in known human history. While conventional medicine is based on more than 5,000 hypotheses, Germanische Heilkunde can be proven at any time to be the only medicine that is scientifically verifiable. With Germanische Heilkunde, for the first time in recorded human history, there is a scientifically verifiable medicine for each patient case. More than 30 medical universities have already confirmed this in the past. Still, Dr. Hamer's discoveries have been suppressed and denigrated for over 40 years. Take your health into your own hands and learn Germanische Heilkunde while you are still healthy. For this purpose, the GHK International Academy offers you an extensive program of seminar tutorials from the basics through the organ level to the psychoses. This seminar program will change your relationship with your body and your health once and for all. You will find the direct link to the homepage of the GHK International Academy below the video.